Welcome back. We're here to talk about Saturday's Premier League match between Stoke and Leicester. Start with the visitors. Pascal continued their fabulous start to the season last time out against Villa.
Yeah, what a comeback that was. Second in the table now. They did so well in that game. And, in the first half, you wouldn't say necessarily they were that bad. It was that one Grealish goal, great finish from him. But you wouldn't say that Villa necessarily deserved the lead that much. It was a fairly even game. Leicester weren't at their best in that first half, but it could have easily gone in level at half-time. And then, it was a good finish from Grealish. And then Carlos Hill does it better than Grealish. It was a fabulous finish from him to go 2-0. And at that stage, 2-0 down, going into the final 20 minutes, really tough situation for them to be in, but the way they came back was just brilliant. And I think Villa were at fault with the way they defended. They allowed Leicester, to come back into the game too easily, but still the way Leicester just sort of went from sort of second to like fifth gear, it was just brilliant the way they turned it on. And Mahrez at the heart of that, he was playing so well. And I think Villa, they could have defended against him better. I watched the time and they jumped in on him, and you don't want him to shoot, but he always jinks one side to the other, and I think they could have defended him better, but he just was running that team in that final 20 minutes. Vardy as well was doing so well, and I think just once they got that first goal and the crowd started to really push them, it wasn't that much of a surprise to see them overturn that 2-goal deficit, and a fabulous performance from them, and what a start to the season.
Just look unstoppable in that sort of form, don't they? They've got so many players who are just absolute bags of energy. Think of Albrighton, Vardy, obviously, as you mentioned, the touch of class from Mahrez as well. Just such a momentum-based team, aren't they? Not even just through in one game when they come back and get 3 goals, but even when they're on a good run of form. Think back to last season when they did that great escape at the start of this season, of course, still unbeaten, only 1 or 2 teams alongside Man City, still unbeaten. Now, they've only lost to Chelsea in the last 14 Premier League games, won 10 of them, 33 points from the last 42 available, which you're talking Champions League form there. It's been fantastic run of form for them, and that followed like a run of 8 without victory, so it shows how much they've turned it around. And to carry that momentum on over the summer, Ranieri obviously deserves praise for picking it up. Obviously Pearson left during the summer, but just when they get in that sort of mood and when they're playing like that, even against the top teams in the Premier League, the likes of Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, they would struggle to deal with them. They're just such a dangerous team when they've got their tails up.
Yeah, they definitely are, but I think the one thing they've got to be wary of is, when they came up last year, they had a really good start to the Premier League season. Nowhere near quite as good as this, but they did start the season really well, and it's almost exactly a year ago now, that famous 5-3 win over Manchester United. They were so good in that game, but then after that, they only won 2 of the next 24, went 13 without a win after that Man United game. So they've just got to be. They don't want to get too complacent. I'm sure they won't, but I think Leicester fans, they're doing brilliantly to go second in the table. I don't think they should get too carried away. They probably know, over time that they're not going to be able to stay in the top 4, but they've just got to be really careful about not going on a really dismal run, because they were sort of at this they felt this good sort of probably last season, and then really tailed away, and bar, like you mentioned, that really brilliant end to the season, they would have gone down. So they've got to be careful about sort of not going on a slump, but the way they're going, you can't really see that happening. They just look so good at the moment, and we didn't even mention Nathan Dyer there, who came on, scored that really brave winner. Really good from him to sort of get in there, and he sort of injured himself in the process, but that was really good from him. He's a very good signing, I think. He struggled to get in the team at Swansea, and to be fair to Gary Monk, Gary Monk could have easily kept Nathan Dyer there as just a bench warmer, but for him to let him go to Leicester, it shows good management from Monk there. He wants his player to get as many minutes as he can, and Dyer will be a very good signing for them, I think.
And by contrast, Stoke, they're still looking for their first win of the season. Last time out against Arsenal, really tough match for them. They've got a terrible record away at the Emirates, but the way they sort of just let Arsenal run all over them in that match, it was one-way traffic pretty much from start to finish. Jack Butland had another really good game. He's had a fantastic start to the season. He deserves his England call-up, and this sort of form, if he's playing regularly, you could see him start maybe pushing Joe Hart for the number 1 spot down a few years, because he's in such good form. Man of the match against Arsenal despite conceding 2 goals. Arsenal, they should have finished more than they did. I think they hit the post twice as well, so the 2-0 scoreline probably flattered Stoke. If anything, Arsenal had 29 shots in that match, which is a staggering amount, really. Mark Hughes said after it was probably his worst performance of the season, and it probably was, but it's such a tough place to go for the Emirates. They'll be much more confident of getting the win. Aside from that, their performance this weekend. Aside from that, their performances this season haven't been too poor. They're still looking for their first win, but they've had good moments coming from 2 behind against Tottenham to rescue a draw, of course, but that first victory can't come quick enough for Hughes.
And especially at home as well. They haven't got a point or a goal at home this season so far, so that's where they really need to improve. And like I say, it hasn't felt that bad for Stoke, but they're 18th in the table, 2 points, only Newcastle and Sunderland below them because of the worst goal difference. So there's certainly the home form is where they've got to improve. I mean, Stoke they never really blow teams away at home. I know the last day of final day of last season they beat Liverpool 6-1, but they don't usually put in performances like that. It's usually very tight games, 1-2-0, 2-1 wins at home, but they haven't got a single point at home yet this season. And last season they had one of the best home records as well, so that's where they've got to improve. And they'll look at their fixtures coming up. Leicester here is a tough game, but then after that, Bournemouth, Villa, Watford, and Newcastle in 4 of the next 5. All of those teams in the bottom half and teams that, even though Stoke are below them in the table at the moment, you'd probably say that Stoke should be winning. And they've had it's been quite a tough start for Stoke. Like you said, playing Spurs, playing Arsenal as well. So it's been a tough start. But those 4 of the next 5 after this one, Mark Hughes probably be targeting maybe 3 wins in those games.
The form book's pretty clear which way this one should be going. What do you think it'll be?
I'm not going to go for a Leicester win. I personally think they've had a great start, but I do see them tailing off at some point. I think they've looked so good that I don't maybe expect them to be right down in the relegation battle this year, but I can't see them being second place for much longer. It sounds harsh, but it's reality. I can't really see them staying there. And I think Stoke is a tough place to go, and like you said, Stoke desperate for that first home point, so I'm going to go for a draw here, 1-1.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. As you say, Leicester, they've had a couple of 1-1 draws this season. They haven't been as barnstorming as they were against Villa in every single match, so I can see another one of those games, maybe a bit of a subdued Leicester performance compared to weeks gone by, so I'm going to go for 1-1 as well. So both going for 1-0 draws here. Thanks for joining us.